This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Quick note, Grace's audio is a bit messed up this episode, entirely my own fault. So apologies, but we hope you still enjoy this episode.
Hello, everyone, and good morning or afternoon, evening, whatever time you're listening to this. Regardless, welcome to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries, where we're your hosts. I'm Alexis.
I'm Grace.
And today, Grace will be telling us a tale, a spooky tale, perhaps. A funky tale about none other than the funky phantom.
The only. The funky phantom.
The funkiest of all. The phantomiest of all.
True.
Our Revolutionary era ghost. What's his first name again? What Muddlemore? What is it?
I don't know.
Okay, just something Muddlemore.
Just call him Muddy.
Mudsy is his nickname. Former soldier in the Revolutionary soldier, quote unquote. That term's used lightly. Looking at a draft, everyone was a soldier then, who died while hiding in a grandfather clock with his cat Boo. I guess the cat was named Boo before also dying with him and turning into a ghost. Yes. These teenagers, 3 teenagers and their dog Elmo, one day were seeking refuge in this old house and decided to change the time on the clock. And when they did that, they unleashed.
Things got a little funky.
Their lives were forever funkified. And now that brings us up to speed on what this show, The Funky Phantom, is all about. I will hand it over to Grace to tell us another episode.
Well, today, that's a great intro, first of all. I'm doing season 1, episode 6, which, I mean, you've already said it. It's literally called Spirit Spooked. So yeah, we're doing a spooky episode today.
Spooky,
it's getting spooky. It's getting funky, but it's always funky.
Yes.
And today's Funky Phantom is going to come at you from a place, a culture, and a theme that will seem very familiar because it has to do with something that we, and more specifically you, have covered before.
Oh.
But before we get to that, we're going to start today's episode doing an activity that, in a hilarious moment of us always being on the same page, last episode, you pointed out, like, I somehow always end up with the episodes, like picking episodes that have to do with a will.
I bet I know what this episode's about.
Starting off with a car race.
Oh, no. Okay, cool.
I've done like 3 car racing episodes, I think.
Yeah.
I know you've done one. But I think you've done one. But whatever. Either way, there's always a car race going on.
In your episodes, it is very common.
Yeah. I don't watch NASCAR. I don't watch car racing, yet somehow my heart is drawn to car racing cartoons.
You live for the thrill.
Exactly.
A regular Ricky Bobby. You are.
If you're not first, you're last.
That's the most I know about car racing is Talladega Nights. And I honestly have only seen that movie like one time.
And honestly, I'm not trying to learn more about racing beyond that film. And that's it.
That's for me.
I was satisfied with my knowledge gained from that entire film.
Yeah.
So our crew today, yes, our 3 teens, their dog and their bestie Ghost and his ghost cat, are speeding through the open desert, much to their own chagrin, as if you will recall, they are in a dune buggy, which means it has no roof, which means they are getting covered in sand and dust, and everyone is like hacking up a lung.
Awesome.
And like coughing and like wiping their faces clean. As they go through this race called the Dust Bowl Derby. We don't have context as to why they entered this race in my first episode.
Thank you.
They entered a race to save someone's farm.
Yeah, that was going to be my comment. Like, what brings them here of all races?
You know, you're going to be asking that even more so because you would assume that since it's called the Dust Bowl Derby, that they're in the Great Plains here in America.
Yes, the Dust Bowl. Yeah.
They're in Mexico.
Known as the Dust Bowl.
So what brought them to the Dust Bowl Derby in the middle of Mexico?
Yeah.
I do not know.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I was thinking they were going to be in like Egypt or something. So that is slightly better because
Yeah,
at
at least they
least I
could
won't see
drive
them
there.
defiling like ancient pyramids and stuff. Oh, great. Hold on. Put a pin in that. Never mind. I saw
Another
your
plug for
face.
our YouTube, everyone.
Yeah.
The Saturday Morning Mysteries. If you're listening to this as a podcast, you missed a lot of our facial expression
Facial.
exchanges,
Yeah.
only perceived on a video medium. So put a pin in that for the time being.
Great. Mhm.
Because unlike some of
Noted.
our other car race episodes that we've covered in the past, this race is going poorly. It's very apparent that
Aw.
it was Skip's idea to join the race, which again, in my first episode, it was his idea to raise money by joining a car race. I guess he just loves car racing. But everyone
Yeah,
else is
that
just
checks out.
fucking pissed at Skip for making them
Right.
join this car race. Like I said, they're coughing up a bunch of dust. There's dust clouds everywhere. Muzzy is like grossed out by the dust that's covering him. But
Ew.
luckily, yeah, he's like, oh, gross. Luckily, he's a ghost though. So like he just like, I don't know,
Yeah,
blinks his eyes and there's no more dust on him. Like it doesn't
great.
really matter. So
Yeah.
making things
Meanwhile, April's like dying.
it's literally like April and Augie, like their eyes are squinted, like because I guess maybe Skip has a windshield. I don't really remember if the Looney
the Looney
Dooney
Dooney.
has a windshield, but yeah, like April's like and Skip's probably just like, look how fast I'm going, April. Are you impressed?
Skip has on like those super intense goggles and like the helmet and like the bandana covering the bottom. He's like totally fine. Like, how cool am I, April? Don't we love these dune buggy races? And April's
and
like dying. She'll never see again in her life.
Augie is actually lifting his Letterman's jacket to be in front of April's face to save her. And she's like, thank you, Augie. So Skip is losing points in this other race, this race for April's heart right now. The ongoing race.
The ongoing race, the most consistent race of this whole show.
Exactly. And making matters even worse, they are dead last in this race. Because they're in a car race in a dune buggy. So,
it's not, they're not all dune buggies racing.
No.
It's they're racing like Lamborghinis.
Yes, everyone else has like
Formula One cars.
Formula One cars, Ferraris, and they are in a dune buggy. So, yeah, they're so far in last place that we hear them all arguing about whether or not they're still on the right track. Because
are we even in the right sport?
So lost. Because it was like a through the open desert style race. And they don't know if they're technically on the right track, where they are. They don't seem to have a map. If they're
they even in this race?
Or not.
They never registered.
Yeah, they don't know, but Skip thinks they are.
Okay.
And we do have some confirmation very quickly that like they at least know there is a real race going on. It wasn't like they got mixed up with like a high-speed chase of like cartels and like the Mexican government or something like that. And Skip was like, look, a race. Confirmed there's a real race going on here because they do hear the revving of an engine nearby. And they see through kind of like all of the dust and kind of like sand clouds going on. They do see another race car kind of like rip out in front of them. Again, it's like a sleek black, like clearly this is a actual professional race car happening.
Yeah, like a
the driver, he's got a helmet on. He's got the whole racing jumpsuit, like, and then cut to them arguing and choking in their dune buggy.
Blinded.
Technically, they're racing, but these two are not in the same race, I would say.
Is two wholly different, two different ballparks.
Yeah, exactly. So, naturally, Skip is like, well, we should just probably follow that car we just found in the middle of the desert. Like, it looks like a race car. It sounds like a race car. Must be a race car in our race. So they kind of give up on like actually winning the race and realizing that like they're in the middle of like the Mexican desert, totally lost. They're like, this is the only sign of life we've seen. It's probably heading in the right direction. We should follow this car. Not like wave them down for help and like double checking, just like, let's follow.
Following a random black fancy car in the middle of the desert of Mexico does not, that seems like 1,001 ways to die.
Yeah, exactly. But Skip's behind the wheel, so he's got to seem confident in front of April.
True. Yeah,
he's got to really know what's going on. He probably names the car, makes something up. It's like, I know this is a race car. Let's go. So again, they're like, really, the goal is let's just not die. Who cares about this race anymore? Mm-hmm. So they indeed follow the car to the best of their ability. And they're like kind of catching up to it. Like the car is maybe also a little lost. It's not going at its full speed. They're scared to lose sight of the car, so they're really gunning it after him. And as they get a little closer to the car, out of the exhaust of this race car, literal flames come out of it. Concerning.
Yeah.
There's something going on with that gas tank.
That's not right. Yeah, exactly.
You should be concerned about this.
I would not be tailing too closely anymore.
Yeah. And you are correct. Skip smartly thinks the same thing. He slams on their brakes.
Good.
As to not crash into this vehicle that is now has gone from flames out of the exhaust to this entire like puff of like gaseous yellow smoke like erupts and covers around the entire car. And as the cloud dissipates, the car is gone. So again, they're like, well,
here we go.
Fuck. Now we're lost again.
We're lost again. Damn it, we were following him for directions.
Now we are
when that
lost.
Happens.
We were like, at the very least, if this car explodes, we can save the driver and he can get us to safety. But now there is no car. And instead, in its place is a man standing down in the middle of the desert, wearing an orange and gold cape with this gold mask that has feathers all around it.
Okay, do go on.
Also holding a large gold staff with a snake on top.
He
is yelling at the crew, leave my domain or face the wrath of our favorite, Hanna-Barbera's favorite, the one, the only, face the wrath of Montezuma.
Oh my God. Yes. Yeah, you said Mexico, and I was kind of hoping. Cool.
And as soon as you said they're not going to raid some ancient ruins, I was like, I'm going to give it away by telling you who they are, which will make you know immediately. This is a Montezuma episode. Nice. And dear listeners, for some background, that's right. Just like Alexis covered in our 4th episode ever of this show, we are going to have our main baddie be Montezuma, which is funny because this episode came out before the Scooby-Doo episode that you covered.
Did it?
Yes, I went and looked to check those receipts, to check those dates.
Glad you did. Okay.
Yep. And
all right. Well, Funky Phantom did it first. That's why in the Scooby-Doo episode, they had to change it to Catazuma. They were like, damn, they're going to remember.
In that episode, they called him Catazuma, which originally we were like, is this to not make it so obvious about the culture that this comes from? But no, they changed it for clarity in the Hanna-Barbera universe, not for clarity of culture.
They're like, no, this isn't the same ancient Aztec god from that episode of Funky Phantom. Yep. Totally different one. Similar region, but totally different guy. You got totally different history story. Yeah.
Catazuma was in the jungle of Mexico, jungles of Mexico. Montezuma, he's in some of the deserts here. Totally different. Totally separate.
Yeah. Common mistake, though. The writers of the Hanna-Barbera writers get it. Like, they know. Ken Spears is back. They're like, I understand your confusion. Just
we're going to clear us out,
though.
Which is also so funny because not only is this a Hanna-Barbera show, but like, because we know so many of the same people worked on both these shows that like truly, when they were writing, like we saw in Jabberjaw,
Yeah.
They just had a Mad Libs of like their ideas constantly, and Mad Libs of their cell animation. They were like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Should I pull out one of the
Guys,
note
what do we
cards
have?
of our past ideas?
What do we already make? Empty your pockets, everyone. What post-it
Yeah.
notes do you have from the frickin' Jabberjaw days that we
From the
can use in
Jabberjaw, from
this?
Scooby-Doo, from Funky Phantom. Everything is a
any of them.
crossover at all times. Like we said in your last episode too, we've covered multiple Scooby-Doos in which gold is in the walls. Funky Phantom also did it. Like,
gold is in the walls. Sound like a crazy person. There's gold in the walls, I swear. Every cartoon I watched growing up told me that there'd be gold in the walls.
And it's always scraping wallpaper off.
It's like not even a brick wall.
Inside.
It didn't have to be brick, they're just in the walls.
In the walls, always. So yes, the same thing happens here. The writers were just like, what do we got? What do we got during that Katazuma episode?
What hit?
Yeah.
What hit in the past?
What landed? Montezuma, they loved it. They ate it up. So, as far as we know in the Hanna-Barbera history, this is perhaps the first iteration of Montezuma, but we'll have to backtrack further into the deep dive of Hanna-Barbera to see was this the first appearance
to the early 60s in our next show.
Who knows?
Keep going.
We will trace it back to the origins. So if you want a full deep dive on who the Spaniards called Montezuma II actually was, the 9th and final independent emperor of the Aztec Empire, go back and listen to our 4th episode. Alexis breaks it all down for us, gives us some history about some of the Aztec empires, Montezuma II's father, who's also an emperor, et cetera, the good old days. What, that episode arc or the Aztecs in the 1500s?
In my mind, I was thinking of that episode, but then it was like, it'd be even funnier, though, to say like the year 1400. Or whatever it was. The good old days. The good old days. We used to sacrifice humans for a season of rain.
The peak of the Aztec Empire, let me tell you. Good old days.
The parties were wild.
If only I was part of the royal family. That's the good old days. Really, in any time period, not just the Aztec Empire.
But, it's always the bad days for everyone else.
Even today. The billionaire class, the good old days.
Yeah, they're in the good old days now. You don't know it's the good times until they're over, right?
Until the Spaniards come and conquer your country and take down one of the most advanced civilizations of all time, the good old days.
Life just before that was great.
We took advantage of it then, we weren't grateful then. So back in our show, our Ghost of Montezuma is shaking that golden staff at them, and the snake head on it comes alive and starts breathing a puff of smoke at them as our Ghost of Montezuma yells, "You have been warned, go at once." And when this puff of smoke dissipates, he and the snake are gone. And similar to kind of your last episode, there's a lot of nods to your last episode in this one.
Oh, great.
But what I'm also learning, and I kind of mentioned it in my first episode, is a theme throughout this. Again, the writers are like, here are the teenagers' personalities. Skip and Augie fight about April. April, we're going to make her pose a lot of the time. We're going to make her be like, boys, stop fighting about me. But at the same time, we're going to make April the only smart one. Because when the cloud dissipates, April turns to everyone else and explains exactly who Emperor Montezuma II was and the Aztec Empire, because the rest of them are just uncultured swine, apparently. And she gives them a full history lesson.
And this is before cell phones and
she can Google this shit.
The internet everywhere. Yeah, she just knows this stuff. We got a regular Velma here on our hands. She knows things, and she loves to let you know that she knows things.
Yeah, but Skip and Augie never have any reaction to clearly she is the smartest one. They're just like, wow, April, that's so impressive. So do you want to go on a date and tell me more about Montezuma? Empire.
Wow, April, what a pretty pose you're doing. You look so pretty, not acknowledging her intelligence at all.
And Also, she often corrects Mudsie on like historical things, but I'm like, maybe they were in American history, they're high school students. But this bitch knows Aztec Empire history.
Yeah, she
and
goes to the
lets
library.
them.
She's
Exactly. She's our little historian here.
yeah.
And in classic Mudsie fashion, he is immediately freaked out because if we've just learned from April, if Montezuma was alive in the 1500s, that could only mean that Montezuma they just called is a ghost. And as we know, Mudsie is scared of other ghosts.
And we're allergic to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Skip, acting all tough in front of April, waves it off as a prank, which I'd like to pause for a second. If this was a prank, this means that somebody hangs out in the middle of the barren Mexican desert, central Mexican desert, waiting for the very infrequent passerby to prank. Like, he's just out there like flipping a coin, wait until he hears like screams for help, and then is like, get my mask on. Mask up.
Get my serpent, like polishing the serpent off the staff. Yeah, I mean, in a way, it could be genius because it's like if you do a prank too many times, it gets old, and people start to like expect it and anticipate it. But if it only happens like once every 5 years,
this man lives for the pranks.
He spends all that time polishing the staff and like putting the feathers in the mask.
Honestly, thank God. My comment was like, he should do this in a more populated area, but thank God he doesn't. Like, this man, if this is the case, he has the patience to wait 5 years for less than 30 seconds of glory and satisfaction. Think of what he could accomplish. This man would take over the world. And he can survive.
He's isolated.
That's not that long.
Yeah.
He's too dangerous. He's too powerful.
Dangerous, yeah. Huh. I'm even more intrigued by this villain now. You make a very good point.
Yeah. Again, if it is a prank, that is the scenario.
You're right too. Sorry. Not only did he survive the desert, but he has also survived cartels as well.
Yeah. You know what?
Impressive.
The cartels are afraid of him. The Mexican government is afraid of him.
They say, don't go there. That's cursed. Yeah. That desert is cursed.
They know not to go through this part of the desert. They're like, here's the thing. We know it's not the ghost of Montezuma, but that guy's crazy. That guy will fuck you up.
He actually thinks he is the ghost of Montezuma. Yeah. So we might as well just let him believe he is and keep away from him.
We actually don't even know how old this man is. We would rather see the ghost of Montezuma than this guy. We pray that it's a ghost instead of him. He's the biggest threat to our country.
Yeah. Single-handedly. Yeah. Cartels fear his name.
The prankster of Montezuma. So, not only, did either a ghost or a prankster, we don't know yet, just threaten them, but
this guy,
the car that they were following is now gone. So they're perhaps even more lost than before because they just blindly followed this car that clearly was trying to trick them. So y'all are even more screwed now. They just went off course.
He lures people into the desert so that he can scare them.
And then not offer them help and just be like, figure a way out now. Yeah, this prank's a lot darker than we thought. Sometimes he appears as what they need. Sometimes he's a mirage looking like an oasis and lures them there. He has a whole studio.
Sometimes he's a fancy black car. That they
he watches you for days to see what will lure you off your course, and then he goes into his Hollywood studio. All right, what's it gonna be today? What's it gonna be?
There's literally a Marvel villain that does this exact thing, and it's absolutely sending me right now. Mysterio,
inspired by him.
It honestly sounds exactly like something he would do because he's very petty and over dramatic like this. So like, Jesus Christ, this is literally Mysterio in the Mexican desert. Sorry, go on.
This is the Mexican Marvel version of him, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
So yes, they are now more fucked than they were moments ago. All thanks to Skip. And
Yes.
Skip, really knowing he needs to save face here, is really leaning into this prank situation, acting, he's doubling down on his confidence to the point where he's like, you know what? We might be lost in the sauce, but hey, I know the direction that the course was supposed to be going. I guess he knows his cardinal directions. He's like, I can figure out a shortcut to get back in this race. I got us. No problem.
Okay.
Which, like, at this point, send out a smoke signal for help. You're going to figure out a fucking shortcut, Skip? Fine.
All right.
He takes them across a bumpy ass mountainous road that is like on the edge of a cliff. They are like bouncing around in the back. Mudzy, you know, he's a ghost that can just like blink out of existence. He's bouncing around like crazy, going, heavens to horse buggies. What is all this infernal bouncing? And right as he says that, Mudzy gets yeeted out of the car from all the bouncing and flies butt first right into some cacti.
Oh, great. Great.
Which makes him scream even more, going, I've been punctured, impaled even.
Oh my God.
It's incredible. As he always is.
He is. He's the moment.
And we cut to Mudzy back in the car, butt sticking up as Boo is picking out all of the cactus needles from his butt. Mudzy is wailing. Boo, I'm pretty sure, steals a couple of these needles. Like, he is grinning the whole time. Mudzy is screaming in pain. Boo is just plucking out all those needles, just a big old grin on his little dead kitty face. Just plucking them out. And again, pocketing some for torture later, I'm sure.
Later. He's got to play or torture play, whatever, with Elmo later. So
but both at once.
Yeah.
Eventually, they do make it down off of this rocky mountainside and back into the desert plateau, where they see the race car from before.
Oh,
this time,
good.
They approach with a little more caution. They're like, I don't know if we should follow this car this time. And behind the car, they indeed see some old Aztec ruins. So they're like slowly approaching, and this car, why they're actually coming up to it this time, is because it has fully stopped in front of these ruins. So they're like, what's going on here? And as they get closer, the door to the race car whips open. Somewhat like horrifyingly. This is like, again, I don't know, just a version of many at the start of horror movies, perhaps. The race car driver in full, again, his like race car driver, he's like racer, like jumpsuit, helmet, and that kind of stuff, stumbles out of the car and like frantically like gets up. They start to get closer now because he seems very frantic. He's waving his arms at them. They assume he's waving them down for help, so they get closer.
No.
But instead, he's screaming and begging for them to go back, and just leave him. So, of course, they, like idiots, go forward to try and help him. Yes, me, similar to you, would be like, sounds good. I will.
Bye. Hope you figure out whatever is going on down there.
Yeah. I'll call someone else
on your own.
Yep. You told me to go back. So I'm going to go back.
Just so you know. Yeah,
you asked me to do this. So goodbye.
For the record, everyone.
Yeah. We have witnesses. He told us to leave.
Yeah.
This is for him. But yes, like idiots, they speed up to help him. But right as they approach him, seemingly to try and grab him away from this car that has exploded in the past right before their eyes, yet again, a puff of smoke appears. And when it dissipates, only his footprints remain. So they're a little concerned now that
Mm-hmm.
the car is gone. There was no Montezuma in his place this time. This man who was clearly
Oh, yeah.
in trouble is now also gone. So the crew tentatively gets out of the dune buggy to kind of look around. But of course, the one who is unconcerned is Boo, who was over there antagonizing, torturing, playing with Elmo. Basically, like antagonizing him to walk across a rotting plank. That is what's sitting over what should look like a pit among these ruins.
Great.
Of course, Elmo, our dumb boy,
Mm-hmm. We love him.
barking.
He's dumb.
We love him, but he's a big old dummy. He's walking over the plank. And then Boo, with a big old grin on his mouth, jumps up and down on the plank so that Elmo flies off of it and tumbles down into the pit.
My goodness.
Yes, classic Boo being like, I heard sacrifices happen here. Let's make some.
Just keeping up with tradition.
When in Rome.
Yeah. Now Montezuma won't haunt us because we're just doing what he usually does.
I'm keeping up with the times. I talked to the ghosts who were haunting here. They said it was cool. So the crew hears this, though, of course, because a dog just yelped and is presumably whining below at the bottom of this pit. And they run to save him. They scramble down the pit to actually reveal kind of like just more ancient ruins. It kind of actually opens up to like more of the desert. So I guess it was just more of like a little cliff situation.
Okay.
And at this point, this place is full of artifacts. Mudsie is assuming that there's going to be more ghosts around, so he just nopes out of there and becomes invisible, as he does when he's over
Smart
it.
Man. Yep.
Yes. And even smarter, because moments after this, the rest of the crew sees a shadow moving out from what looks like a door to one of the ruins. Everyone freezes in fear as, instead of a ghost, a middle-aged man in our classic archaeologist outfit. He's got the tan cargo pants on. He's got like the linen shirt. He's got the helmet on.
Nice.
Stumbles out.
Classic.
Looking frightened too, until he realizes that what he thought was a bunch of ghosts, aka our crew, is just a bunch of American teens.
Oh, okay. Almost worse.
Honestly, way worse.
Yeah.
I hate to see it happen. So he holds his hands up and says, like, it's okay. It's just me. It's not that ghost of Montezuma. Which, at that comment, the crew is, of course, like, wait, you've also seen the ghost of Montezuma?
Okay.
Tell us more. They're intrigued. So this archaeologist, who we learn is named Professor Lundgren, we learn has not only seen the ghost of Montezuma and has been basically tortured and followed by him for days, but the professor sheepishly admits it like possibly kind of sort of maybe has been his fault that this ghost appeared because he was going through the ruins.
This sounds so fucking familiar.
Wow, hi, it's me, a not native to this area archaeologist poking around in someone else's cultural ruins. And I just so happened to find Montezuma's Mask of the Sun that everyone thought was lost to the sands of time. And I just grabbed it for myself. And maybe pissed off the ghost.
I knew that it would like release a curse, but I still took it anyways.
But like, I was like,
or maybe he didn't. Maybe he's smarter than the people in Scooby-Doo. Yeah,
well, what he did this time, instead of just yoinking it for himself, he called the museum that was sponsoring him, I can only assume the British Museum, to tell them the news of his finding and to basically like send in more of a team to like continue looking through these ruins, but also to like obviously come safely take this artifact that he found. But no one has come to help, even though he made that call. Instead, like I said, the opposite happened. Rather than his whole museum staff showing up, the ghost of Montezuma has showed up and has been spooking him and following him for days, to the point where the professor, or the ghost, was able to get the mask back from the professor.
Mm,
So
okay.
you'd think.
I mean, because he's like his prisoner. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Cool,
he's like
cool.
literally like not slept in 4 days. He's being haunted at every
trying to
turn.
get out of this fucking desert.
Yes, he is like, if I leave these ruins, I'm going to be exposed to the elements of the desert, which will kill me. At least I'll have a roof over my head here. But oh, wait, there's a ghost also trying to kill me here.
And no water or food.
And no water or food.
anything.
No one coming to help me.
He didn't just call the people at the museum to come and like get the mask. He's like, no, I'm dying. Please, this is like a distress call. He's like, I don't know where they are. I haven't heard from them.
Yeah, I spent the first one being like, I have something really important for us to like safely extract from this. And the second one was like, please help me. That's all it is. It's just like fuzzy, like, help me. Whoever,
help
like the
me.
Operator is like, hello, I can't hear you. He's probably fine.
Callers. It's probably
there's so many
old
pranks in this part of the
desert. Yeah.
This area is known for its pranksters, you know?
Yeah. Surprised I even answered the phone.
Yes. But it turns out, because what you just said, like, that's what I thought too. Like, at that point, I would have just called and been like, you win some, you lose some, and some get stolen by ghosts. Someone come get me. Like, this place is clearly not great. However, he has actually not called for his pickup. He made that first call, yes, for the staff to come. No one has come yet. But he's actually too afraid now to call the museum again, because he thinks if they call him, or if he calls them and says, come get me, I don't have the mask anymore. He's pretty worried, that they're going to think that he lost it, which he did technically. Yeah. Or he's worried that they're going to think he stole it for himself. Which I asked, one, this sounds like a toxic workplace. Like, you accidentally lose something and they assume it's your fault that you stole it. Yeah. Or my second thought was, what a way to be an art thief or museum thief. Like, you're already stealing from other cultures. So do a double bluff on them. Steal from the stealers themselves. Burgle the burglars.
Yeah. Oh my God, I was kidnapped and they stole the mask. Oh no. I feel like I have seen that in a movie before. But I mean, it doesn't mean it's not a good idea. It was probably a great movie. It's a great idea.
I'm not saying it's good to steal, I mean, it's definitely from these illegal cultures, but it's like kind of Robin Hooding it a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, assuming that you use the money for good. Just like donate it to a nonprofit or something. Then it's basically Robin Hood.
Well, more so just stealing from the rich. We're not going to, he's definitely not going to use them. No one's going to use them for good if you're already stealing this shit.
Yeah.
You're going to go sell it back to the people. You're going to triple bluff. You're going to take it. The museum wants it. You're going to find it, take it from the museum, and then sell it back to the country you stole it from originally.
There you go. Yeah.
You're triple bluffing the system here.
Exactly.
But you know what? In this economy, do what you got to do. Inflation these days. Yeah.
Also, can I just very quickly say, when you said at the beginning of the episode, like, we're going back to somewhere that I often go back to, my guess was a museum and like art theft. So when you said a car race, that's why I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I see it. But I love how somehow we ended up there anyways, talking about museums and art theft. I was like, Grace will find a way to put it. It's like, oh, episode in the middle of a desert. Yeah, Grace will find a way to tie in a museum and art theft somehow. Just wait for it, guys. Just wait.
But I didn't even consciously do it. I was just like, a bluff within a bluff, a feint within a feint. An art theft within an art theft. Typing away furiously.
You see like a montage.
You see like desert scapes coming by me. You hear the Dune music happening. Yeah, exactly.
People like carrying massive like sculptures through the desert
as they just type furiously. Yeah, and it won't stop there. And now,
okay, great, good.
I will talk about it again later.
Back home now.
On accident. Yeah, I was just like car race because it feels so unfamiliar to me to talk about car races. I don't even care about those.
But if we talk about An art heist. No.
Now that is something I know a lot about.
Yes.
So, yes, we'll definitely revisit that. Obviously. Does the show revisit it? No. Do I revisit it? Yeah.
Absolutely. Great.
So, rightfully, as the adult in the room, because Muzzy hasn't shown himself, and also, can we even call Muzzy an adult?
Right.
I don't think so.
True.
This Professor Lundgren tells the kids that they should probably get back to safety. He doesn't think that they can protect them there. Basically, like, y'all are a fucking liability. I don't want your blood on my hands. This ghost is already haunting the shit out of me.
Yes.
But of course, the crew sees someone potentially in need, and they decide to butt in without being asked to help figure this out.
Yes.
So, hilariously, they do like give pause for a second. He's like, y'all should go back. Like, yeah, I can't help you here. You have a car. Get out of here. Save yourselves. I will wait for the museum / I need to go re-find my thing so I don't lose my job. But the teens like do a little huddle up and basically like talk it through together, like right in front of him, of being like, all right, is this guy crazy or did this actually happen? Like,
you're just standing there like,
I can hear you.
I can hear you. Yeah.
But because they're good people, they decide whether he is crazy or not is irrelevant. Either way, he's a person who's clearly been abandoned in these ruins.
Wow, good for
and
them.
Is either being really pranked or haunted. So they will.
I know for a fact April is the one that came to that conclusion.
Yeah. She was like, you know what? Like, in this court of law, like, legally insane or not doesn't matter. Like, if he is crazy, he even more so needs our help. Like, we can't just leave him.
Exactly.
Yeah, again, she is the only, I mean, they're all fine people in this, but April really holds things together, I would say.
Yeah.
She has like critical thinking skills that these boys, teenage boys, they don't develop those yet. They're not there.
All they care about are dune buggies and football.
Exactly. And impressing April.
Yeah.
Yep. However, as these teens turn around to happily announce again to this unwilling man that they are there to help him, all that is left is a puff of smoke dissipating.
Oh my gosh, not again.
And just like with the race car driver, just the footprints of where he once stood.
Yeah.
And then, in a twist, they immediately abandoned the plan. They're like, nope, well, 2 people have just disappeared. So yeah, we should probably leave.
Like, all right, well, like, bye.
We tried to help 2 people and they both just became smoke. So bye. They both told us to leave. So now we will.
Yeah, in direct ways, they're telling us that we're not wanted here.
Yeah, they said, save yourselves. And you know what? We got the hint this time. Like, we will.
They said, you won't leave? Fine, we'll leave. Poofs of smoke.
And yeah, so 5 of the teens are like, fool me once.
We got the message.
Fool me twice. We're not going to be fooled a 3rd time. So yes, they are like, yeah, let's GTFO. We were already lost. This is making things worse. Let's hit it. But as they start to find their way out of the ruins, trying to get back to their car, because remember they kind of like fell down into that little down that little hill into that little pit. Of course, instead of talking about the important things like how are we going to survive, Augie and Skip, what do you think they're doing?
Yes. Either talking about who's dumber, talking about who's better dune buggy driver, or talking about who deserves to be with April.
They're talking about all 3 of these things.
Literally their entire personalities, with like a sprinkle of football in there and like a sprinkle of science in there for Skip and Augie.
Yeah, they are just bickering. Yes, exactly about those 3 things.
Wonderful.
And April, who is both probably sick of their shit as always. 1, is probably sick of their shit. 2, the only one with critical thinking skills, is trying to figure out a way of how they are going to survive. She's probably wondering, like, how many miles have we gone? How many miles does our dune buggy have? Like, she's doing some calculations. 3, she's clearly a historian. She's probably amazed by these incredible ruins of the Aztec Empire. She's really taking in the moment. She knows these are the good old
She's
days
like
as they're happening.
dusting things off and like interpreting like hieroglyphs or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's like
writing
taking
things down in a
photos to like
notebook.
bring back to like a university back in Mexico City so that their archaeologist team can go investigate them, et cetera, et cetera. She's doing the Lord's work.
She's actually like a prodigy and is working on her PhD in like cultural anthropology right now or something. Like writing a book.
Exactly.
Like, on the side. But it obviously, like the way that they write Augie and Skip, no one would ever know this because they literally only care about her looks or whatever. Like they're never actually asking about what she's doing or what she's
or how
into.
she knows all this.
Yeah, they're just like, oh wow, you're so pretty.
You're
probably
so
right
pretty.
about Montezuma.
Wow,
probably right.
When you say big words, your mouth moves so pretty. Wow.
Like a really weird compliment.
Exactly.
Off-putting.
She's just like continues dusting and like bagging objects to bring back to the university.
She's like a whole lab set up to like preserve things and everything, like cleaning them off the right way, folds it back up into a briefcase. Like, all right, guys, let's get out of here.
Yeah, all right.
Are you guys still talking about whatever, the dune buggy?
Oh, about me? Of course you are. Of
course.
So, unfortunately, with April lagging a little behind, being so, again, mesmerized by these beautiful once-in-a-lifetime ruins, and yes, unfortunately, with Augie and Skip being in their own childish world, they don't notice when one of the walls of the ruins opens up and arms reach out and grab April and yoink her back into the ruins before the door slams behind her.
Okay.
And Augie and Skip do not even fucking notice until they hear laughter atop one of the pyramids. So kind of like a lot of like, I guess not a lot, but some Aztec ruins are, like a pyramid, but like a flat top on them. And they look up to see, well, they look over to one, notice that she's gone for the first time. And this is when they realize it. Because they were probably like, April, what do we do?
Yeah.
Where is she? But they also look up on top of the ruins to see the same ghost of Montezuma with the golden mask, which we now can assume is the aforementioned sun mask of Montezuma that the archaeologist, the professor, had found. And on top of this pyramid is April, fully chained up against like a giant stone. And Montezuma is announcing, since you did not obey and decided to stay, the girl must face the wrath of Montezuma. So,
all right.
Guess we're about to have some human sacrifice.
Yeah, I was going to say, Montezuma needs some rain. So somebody's got to get sacrificed. That happened very quickly.
Skip and Augie were arguing for a while.
Okay, got it. It was like a 10-minute thing. And I laughed when you said that they didn't notice she was missing until they heard someone laughing, like evilly. Because in my mind, she gets taken. They're arguing. They're deep in this back and forth. And like the villain is standing there watching them like, these motherfuckers don't even notice that I just took their friend. So he's like, like starts laughing. So they like notice, like getting their attention.
They only noticed because it was the laughter of a man. Like as they were arguing, they kept being like, "Am I right, April? Yeah, she thinks I'm right," and like she was never responding. They just don't listen to her. Hear a man is speaking.
A man. What? Yeah.
How did April get up there?
April's gone. April? Oh my God, she's chained to the top of the pyramid. How long have we been arguing? Jesus. Oh, these guys are hopeless. That's
the
so
ghost
funny.
of Montezuma is like, finally. Jesus.
God, he like looks at April like, I'm so sorry. You're stuck with these guys.
I know. He's like, are you sure you don't want to be sacrificed?
Yeah.
Like, could be better.
Yeah, I'm used to it. It's fine.
Yeah, April's actually like taking notes like in her chains, like actually experiencing a human sacrifice. Fascinating.
Yes, much like they did in the year 1460, whatever.
Taking tons of notes.
Yeah.
So yes, it indeed seems like she's about to be human sacrifice, and
Yeah.
Skip and
Actually
Augie
scary.
clearly have no idea how to get up to her.
Yes.
So again, I feel like it's usually her plans, and now they don't have the brains with them. They are
They yell up, April, how do we get you down?
April, where are the stairs?
What do we do?
Hey, hey, can you pick your own lock? It seems really far away.
April, try picking the lock and getting those chains off of you. We'll meet you back down here.
Sir, could you laugh a little quieter? We're trying to hear her plan. April, speak up. April.
Oh, God.
So, luckily, though, they have a ghost.
Oh, yeah.
So, Mudsie, the good ghost that he is, he can, again, we've mentioned before, kind of like blink in and out of existence, basically teleport, et cetera, et cetera. So he like pops himself onto the top of this pyramid. Mudsie just pranks the ghost of Montezuma like he's been pranking all of them. He throws the cape over his head so he can't see. He kind of like is wheeling and dealing on top of that pyramid, accidentally runs into this giant gong that was up there. So it's like really loud reverberating in his ears. And just a puff of smoke happens again, and the ghost of Montezuma disappears.
Ooh.
And is gone yet again.
Yeah.
And as Mudsie,
scary.
Yeah, he loves the drama, like most of our villains do, but also like Mudsie does.
Yeah.
So as Mudsie frees April, she's like, Mudsie, thank you so much. That was so impressive. You were so brave. And he says, well, that was nothing. You should have seen me at the Battle of Bunker Hill.
Oh, God.
April gives him a look like, you for Bunker Hill. He goes, well, it was more of an anthill. That bitch wasn't there.
Part of me like was sighing and part of me was groaning at the same time. Like, what is my reaction to this? I don't know. It's like, Mudsie, I love you, but come on, dude. Together. But I'm fine with it. Yeah.
It reminds me of do you ever see, it's like I think from way earlier days of YouTube, but it was like if Shakespeare characters had a gay best friend, and it's Juliet's about to take her life, and he's like, bitch, you're 13 and you met him 2 days ago and you're gonna die for Romeo? Girl, no. Come on, get up out of there.
Get out of there.
Like, throws his scarf, and that's like the energy Mudsie brings.
Absolutely.
Like, girl, you're about to get sacrificed? I don't think so.
Heavens, no.
Heavens, Betsy Ross.
Yes.
So as he frees April, he does get her out of there. They notice that in that last puff of smoke, the ghost of Montezuma dropped the sun mask that fell off, or that he had gotten stolen from him, stole back from the professor, et cetera, et cetera. So they grab it and they're able to go back down and bring it to Skip and Augie. And as they're down there all looking at this artifact, of course, a puff of smoke happens, but now 2 figures appear. One has that same orange and like gold cape from before. Clearly, this was the ghost of Montezuma, but now he's wearing like a very tight red mask that we had kind of seen, like when he had the sun mask on, we kind of saw it underneath. And the other one is wearing basically this like very brightly colored bird mask.
Okay.
And of course, he's vibing, you know? He wanted a little more flair.
What they had on sale at the costume store.
Yeah, he was like,
I like birds.
You know what I could do? A bird.
Is this one cute? Bird. He like looks at the co-conspirator. We like this one?
Yes. Yes. This angle?
Yeah.
It'll go great with your sun mask. Okay. Well, look, this couple's costume will work.
Oh, we're going to win the costume party.
So, of course, they give chase to the crew, trying to get the sun mask back. The crew eventually escapes by running into one of the ruins themselves, like into one of the pyramids, and slamming the door shut behind them. It's completely dark in there. But through feeling around, they're able to find some torches and some lighters. So they light up some torches. Yeah, they were just in there.
They
needed a light too back in the Aztec Empire.
Yeah, and they still work today. It's all good.
Yep. And so while they start lighting up these ruins, they start hearing some rattling of chains and moaning. And everyone gets freaked the fuck out by this. Rightfully so. Mudsie goes.
Mudsie probably got excited at first.
Mudsie goes, that's amateur chain rattling if I've ever heard it. Second class, third class, even if you ask me.
Oh, we all know who he's the authority on chains. So
exactly. He's the authority on any ghostly sounds you hear. He knows it. Okay. So again, like idiots, the crew follows the noises and walks into just like basically clearly like the like prison cells in this pyramid. And inside they find the source of the noises. They find someone with their arms hanging above their head because their wrists are shackled and bound in chains that are hanging from the ceiling. Like their head is hanging down. You just see them like from behind. It is like way too graphic for this like silly little kid show.
From behind.
Yeah, just like the head dangling, their arms hanging up, like their body is limp.
Like they're absolutely unconscious and being tortured and being held prisoner.
They're probably like slowly crushing their lungs from the slumping. But they do hear this person trying to speak a little bit. So they approach more and they see that it's a young, well-dressed blonde man who's just barely to whisper out a call for help and he says, help me, it's me. Professor Lundgren. Except this is not the Professor Lundgren we met from before, the middle-aged man.
No.
It's an entirely different man. So they untie him and hear basically the exact same story. He discovered the mask. He called the museum for them to send to the crew to, continue looking at these pyramids and take the artifact. When suddenly, much like in your story, he was hit in the back of the head and woke back up, hanging in this pyramid.
Another severe head injury. Here we
go. So
many
severe head injuries in this show arc. So naturally, the crew is kind of sus. They're like, all right, who's telling the truth here?
Yeah.
What's going on? They try and like huddle up to be like, what's the situation? But before they can question this literal prisoner more, of course, a puff of smoke erupts. And not only is the Professor Lundgren gone, or this Professor Lundgren, when it dissipates, but the door they use to get in is locked.
Oh, great. Okay.
And here's the thing. I started thinking about this during your episode, and now during my episode. Mudsie can walk through walls and can like transport himself in and out of existence.
Wait,
why does he always just like in the crypt just be like, hold on guys, let me unlock the door from the other side?
Yeah. Oh boy, guys, that was scary. Here, let me get that.
Yeah, like in my first episode, he literally walks through a wall. So like he can. He just chooses not to, apparently.
He's like, I only save that for the most extreme emergencies.
Which this is not it, I guess.
This is not.
I would love to hear what the extreme emergency in his book is.
Trying to remember what it was in your first episode, what he did that for. Whatever that was. Like it
was to show off serious. To everyone else. It was like they had to climb in through a second story window and he was like, amateur hour. He just walked into the first floor.
And that was an emergency. He was going to get sweaty.
Exactly.
Can't take those stairs.
Here, though, the desert's pretty hot out there. In this tomb, this ancient tomb, though, It was pretty nice. You guys figure a way
I feel
out.
no need to escape. Yeah.
So I guess that's what they did. So through some shenanigans that absolutely ruin these very significant, this, ancient building, they're able to escape. And yes, they continue on with their plan to be like, fuck it, let's leave. So they are running towards their dune buggy, which they are actually able to reach. But right before they start to drive away, the race car from before rips out in front of them. And we see in the driver's seat the man with the bird mask, and we see the same man who's now wearing the sun mask because in the shenanigans of trying to escape, they dropped the mask, of course, and these ghosts were able to go get it.
Got it. Yeah. Great.
But
clumsy MFers.
Mudsy is driving.
Oh,
which
no.
means I can only assume Boo is down there at the pedals, pushing that gas pedal all the way down.
Yeah.
So they simply crash into another building.
Great.
Ruining
any
more
minute now they'll
cultural
crash.
significant history.
Yeah.
Like they always do in Hanna-Barbera. And this happens to be a grand throne room, where as the dust of all these ruins settle, they see Montezuma in the sun mask on the throne and immediately start chasing the crew. But
like
Mudsy,
actually him. It's not like a statue. So yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Him.
He Never mind.
Got out of the car. He's chasing them, as is the bird feather mask guy.
Should have just let you finish the sentence. Like,
you know what?
Okay, never mind. Statues don't chase. Actually, you know what? No, statues do chase. We've seen in these Hanna-Barbera, so I'm glad I asked.
It was a legitimate question.
Yeah.
So Mudsy is trying to be like, again, I'm out. Now there's two ghosts, like allergic to them. Absolutely not. Goodbye. Thank you. But as he's trying to sneak away, the crew is running one direction being chased. He is sneaking the other way. He's opening a door that he thinks is perhaps one of the exits to this pyramid, truly abandoning his friends, leaving them for dead, et cetera, et cetera. But it turns out that it's a closet. And this closet has multiple cloaks in it and replicas of the gold sun mask. So Mudsy, it's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Puts the cloak and the mask on and sneaks up behind the so-called ghost of Montezuma and bellows, "Who dares pose as my spirit?" And when our Montezuma ghost turns around, he sees a figure dressed up in the outfit. So he rips the mask off of Mudsy. But as we remember, Mudsy can turn himself invisible.
Yes.
Which he does in this moment. So it's just a cloak floating in the middle of these ancient ruins.
Very smart.
Yes, even as the mask clatters to the floor. So in this moment, our ghost Montezuma and the ghost guy in the bird mask freak the fuck out and scream, "It's the real ghost of Montezuma!"
Yes.
And
also, is Mudsy saying all this stuff in his usual voice, or is he like pretending to sound like?
I think he toned it down a little bit for the "Who dares to pose as my spirit." Yeah, it was like a little less dramatic. It was a little. We know Mudsy has always wanted to be an actor.
True.
He honed.
This is my chance.
He focused. He
practiced. You never know what agents are watching.
As the crew is like being chased, screaming like, "Mudsy, help!" He's like in a mirror. "Who dares possess?" No, that's not quite right. "Who dares possess?" No, that's quite not it either.
Who dares
possess? He's gurgling some water.
Yeah.
No roll is a small roll. No roll is a small roll.
This is your chance, Madomora.
This is your chance to shine. So then I'm pretty sure we literally just jump to like the police arriving to these ruins, like arresting the masked men. For all I know, the masked men called the police to be like, "This shit is haunted."
help, we're trapped.
Yeah,
A ghost
or
trapped
like
us in here, and these random teenagers who are trespassing on this historical landmark. Yeah.
Or like, or the crew were able to call him somehow, or call them somehow. We don't know. But like, I don't think the crew caught and unmasked them.
And then put the mask back on.
Because the unmasking happens with the cops.
Yeah. Imagine if they did. Imagine if they unmasked it because they had no clue who it was. And then they put the mask back on just so that they can show off to the cops, like, yeah, see, we know who it was before you guys even knew this crime was happening.
Let us tell you all of our clues.
Yeah. But yes, okay.
Yes,
God.
it was very funny.
Oh, wait, so do I get to guess who's under it, or is there more before they unmask?
Nope, you do. I will say it is very funny that like the cop car does actually say La Policia on it, and I was just like,
oh, nice, good. Cool, I did for a split second forget that they were in Mexico.
Yeah. So yes, here
who the fuck
are the only other characters we've seen.
Yeah, thanks.
We've seen a terrified race car driver.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen
he never got a name, or we never like.
Yeah, he's just a race car driver who was like begging for help / telling them to go back.
Great.
We saw the first Professor Lundgren, who was also low-key terrified and poofed it out of existence. And then we saw the second Professor Lundgren chained up, also poofed out of existence. Yeah. And now I guess we've seen this cop. That's it.
Right. Okay. I mean, I guess it's the first Professor Lundgren has something to do with it, obviously. I'm going to guess he's the fake one and not the one who was chained up and in a nice suit is the real one. So I'm going to guess that the first Professor Lundgren is a culprit. I'm not sure if there's more than one.
There are two people arrested.
Duh, that's right. Okay, so yeah, him, sorry, stupid. So him and the race car driver. No, scratch this all. I'm going to say the real Professor Lundgren and the fake one. I'm going to say those two.
A feint within a feint.
Yeah.
Yet again. Well, we see the second Professor Lundgren step out from, I guess, some of the ruins where he had been chilling as he explains who are behind the masks, because as the police and the crew take off the masks, we see the impersonator professor, who, yes, was the first one, and the race car driver.
And shouldn't have changed my guess.
I know. Your gut reaction was correct.
It was. Okay.
So our chained up professor explains that the two that we are looking at, this impersonator and the race car driver, are actually the museum curator and his assistant. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby.
Man, oh, man, do I have so many things I want to say.
Goes deep in this one. The museum conspiracy.
It's always the freaking curator, man. Okay.
Always. So what happened was when this curator and the assistant got the call about the actual professor's discovery, they were like, well, we got to make this discovery. Well, actually, I don't really know what the full plan was. We'll talk about it in a second. But either way, they were like, we got to get this mask.
There's never a full plan in this show, I think.
No.
But anyway.
And instead of just showing up, they were like, that's going to be too obvious. We got to enter this race. They like pulled like a real Scooby-Doo plot line of, we got to enter the race with this guy looking like a race car driver. We know it's going to pass. The race is going to pass these ancient ruins. So we'll just make a little detour here, take the sun mask back, I guess leave the real professor for dead, chained up, get back on the race, continue on. Bada bing, bada boom. We got the sun mask.
An easy 3-step plan, no? You know what? Honestly, at that point, fucking take it, have it. Like, what the hell?
Well, not even
this is that. So over the top and extra.
And extra because clearly the assistant is also like a part-time magician, because that's where all the puffs of smoke, they say, they were all just like magic acts. So like
he comes in on the days that like field trips happen at the museum and just like do some magic for the kids.
Exactly.
And they're like, hey, we could use some skills like yours for a heist we're trying to pull off.
Exactly.
Like, now you see it. Now you see me. Is that what those movies are called? The magicians that do like bank heists and shit.
Yes, like gambling ones. Yes, 100% casino ones.
Great.
Yes. So like, I don't know. I guess that like I've got a couple more lines. I'll finish it and then we can talk about like what the fuck was their actual plan here.
What's happening? Yeah, awesome.
Anyways, yes, the curator and the assistant get loaded up into the cop cars. They get driven away. The professor turns to the teens and their dog, and he's like, "Wasn't that crazy? Like, that was fucking wild." But specifically, insane, he's like, actually. I like low-key knew that it was like them the whole time, because who would believe, just like in your episode, who would believe that there are ghosts? No one believes in those. But unlike in your episode, which they've clearly learned from, Mudsy, like we said, no role is too small. No press is bad press. He poofs right in front of the real professor to basically be like, wow, rude bitch, I just saved your ass and you're saying that ghosts are fake? And the professor, like, his jaw drops and like we see him. I think like it reminds me of like in Jurassic Park when they see the dinosaurs, just like the sunglasses slowly come off.
Yeah, like cigarette falls out of the jaw dropped mouth. Yeah.
But then the crew, like this is not even like me adding spice to the episode. Literally all of them, including Mudsy and Boo, just all literally hop in the dune buggy and go, okay, bye, and drive away. And the professor's just like,
so like, does he have a way out of the desert?
We don't know. The episode's over.
Okay. It doesn't concern us. That's his problem. Not ours.
Call the other museum, buddy. Figure it out. So
they'll pay for it, I bet. Wow. Amazing. Great job.
This episode, I would like to point out, most museum heists and art heists are inside jobs. Statistically, in real life. So this is
checks out.
Yes, more truth. So what I think happened is yes.
Yeah.
The museum curator indeed got the call from the real professor being like, I found this really important artifact. Come get it. The curator was like, I'm the only one who's received this call. No one else knows that this has been found. So I think he's doing what I said at the top. He's just going to go steal that artifact, black market that shit, or sell it back to Mexico. And the assistant's going to get a little cut to pursue his magician career.
It's like, no, I can go to magic school. I can buy all the Harry Houdini books
that I've ever dreamed of.
Goodness.
So
wow.
That's it.
What a plot. What a freaking plot. And I will say, like, had I known that a museum was, well, I guess I did know a museum was involved in a way because he worked for one. But if I had more directly known, like, a museum was somehow involved, I would have 100% guessed, like, I don't know who the fuck the curator is, but he's got something to do with this because Hanna-Barbera hates museum curators, apparently.
Someone on the writer's staff of Hanna-Barbera went to school, went to grad school, like got a PhD like in museum curation and could never find a job doing it. And thus
got laughed out of interviews and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, of like Scooby-Doo, it's always the museum curator. We've probably had like 3 episodes like that. This show it happened. Amazing Chan, it was like the like Greek minister of museums was a bad guy.
Or like artifacts or whatever.
Someone's parents had told them, don't study that. You're never going to be able to get a job. And then he was never able to get a job. Yeah. So he's just painting them always as evil now.
When in my in the Montezuma episode that I did, it was also, they weren't museum curators, but they were like archaeologists working for a museum. And so in my mind, when I saw that they were copying, when I saw that the Katazuma episode copied this one, I was like, I guarantee you it's going to be like the archaeologist working for the museum.
Always.
Which is why I thought that he was in. It's like, it's got to be him. They're just going to copy the same fucking script.
Yep. I mean, again,
No.
they basically did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like,
They
we'll
just
change it
tweaked it a little.
slightly. Can we copy your homework? Sure, but just like make it look a little different so people don't think you were cheating.
Yeah, just like you change a couple of the words, like change the work that you got to the answer by just a little. Yeah. So there you go. That's
Great
this
job.
episode.
Classic Hanna-Barbera shenanigans.
Yes,
we love to see it.
I
love to see it.
I love putting together the timeline of the episodes to be like, which show copied which within the Hanna-Barbera universe.
Right. Who had the idea first?
Yes, exactly.
We will give credit to Funky Phantom here. I think what we know, though, is that the one that copied off of all of them, because it literally was all over the fucking place, is Jabberjaw. That one definitely came last. It's like, we're going to take ideas from all of the shows we've done.
Yeah, and they were like, Jabberjaw is literally impossible to copy because we don't know what happened, and we're the ones who wrote it. So we can't copy it.
There we go.
Yep. Wow. So next week we will be back with another very fun Funky Phantom episode. And between now and then, Alexis, who should our listeners and viewers tell about the show?
This week you should tell someone in a Mexican cartel.
Damn it! You're gonna say that.
You're gonna say.
Yeah, because I was gonna say it, so I was like, she's gonna take it from me. She's gonna take it.
We've done all the other ones before.
Yeah,
from this episode.
Yeah, great, agreed. Yeah, they work long nights. They need
podcasts to listen to.
Yeah,
and honestly, we need to build some street cred, like among the more violent demographics. Cartel members, boom.
Like in general. That's another lost demo that not a lot of podcasts look at, but us, we do.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a crime for them to listen to us. So like, come on, listen.
Yeah. Come on down.
Sorry. Like, I'm very sorry if you get arrested for the work that you do, but like, it's not a crime for you to check out Saturday Morning Mysteries.
Exactly.
So let us know. Subscribe, like, comment, share it with your other cartel compadres or friends
you can
or whomever.
All listen together on those late nights, you know? When you're forcing an innocent person to mule across the border.
As you're like loading things into those tunnels. Like
going from city to city.
Yeah, don't listen too loud. You don't want to like miss any crazy announcements or sirens or anything. But like, I don't know, they put it on your Bluetooth speaker so everyone can hear. And then you can also like hear things are coming.
We need the listens. You all got to listen.
Oh shit, you're right. My bad. Good point.
Yeah, it's not a group activity. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry.
When you're done telling a cartel member, I think you should tell
if you're able to do anything.
Who's either arresting you or you're bribing.
Yeah, who also might be working with the cartel. He may have heard from the cartel person that you told. So who knows?
We don't care.
Just keep telling. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we don't care if you tell the officer when you're getting arrested or when you're exchanging cash. Whatever. As long as they listen.
Yeah.
That's it.
Works for me. Again,
great.
Hey, we're a big tent here. We like letting anyone listen and enjoy. So
we appeal to all the demos. It really feels like we shat on Mexico during this part.
Yeah. I mean,
sorry, Mexico. I love going there.
We love you, Mexico. We'll just end this by saying all your problems are the fault of the United States. So on that end,
see you next week. Bye.
See you next week. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.